Inshallah, we'll start from the beginning of humanity. Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, when he was told to be prostrated in front of by Iblis, Iblis said he will not do it. Aba wastakbara wa kana min al-kafirin. What was the promise that Iblis made to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that time? He made a promise. وَلَا أُضِلَّنَّهُمْ وَلَا أُمَنِّيَنَّهُمْ وَلَا آمُرَنَّهُمْ فَلَا يُغَيِّرُنَّ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ. This is a promise Iblis has made before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in, when he was cast out of Jannah. So this is now what we are currently going through with all the movements that you have in the world related to feminism, women shoulder to shoulder with the men. This is all a promise of shaitan, because he said very clearly to Allah, I will lead them astray. I will give them false hopes. I will cause them to indulge in vices. I will instruct them. I will tempt them to change the way you have created them. Now this is the main focus, inshallah, of our talk. وَلَا آمُرَنَّهُمْ فَلَا يُغَيِّرُنَّ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ. Allama Baghawi, commentating on the tafsir of وَلَا آمُرَنَّهُمْ فَلَا يُغَيِّرُنَّ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ. I will most certainly tempt them, order them, and they will change the way Allah Ta'ala has created. Now what does that mean? He says, Allama Baghawi rahimahullah says, Allah Ta'ala created certain things, in a certain manner. Allah Ta'ala created certain things to fulfill a specific role and a specific function and a purpose. What is Iblis saying from day one? I will seduce them. I will tempt them. So they will regard unlawful to be lawful. They will alter, they will change their roles for which they were created. Now, mashallah, you come to the 21st century. The plan of Iblis and his final bout, his final fight is with the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is why the struggle that we have maybe is second to none compared to all the other nations in terms of psychological, emotional, intellectual. The difficulty that we are going through, it's on another level. It is just on another level. So now this is materialized. The promise that shaitan gave is being materialized in front of our own eyes, because the ambition of shaitan, that was the ambition and that was a goal of shaitan. Now 30 years ago, what was accepted to be taboo, what was completely it was not normal. Today has not only become normal, it has become acceptable. And if you speak against it, then you are in trouble. You are a fofo, you are a bigot. If you speak against the LBGT movement, then you can be in trouble. Now remember what we are going through currently. This is a prophecy of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What did Rasulullah say? This is a hadith mentioned by Imam Abu Ya'la rahimahullah. Rasulullah said, كيف بكم إذا تركتم الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر أو كائن ذلك يا رسول الله؟ نعم وأشد منه. كيف بكم إذا رأيتم المنكر معروفا والمعروف منكرا. Look what Rasulullah is saying. What will happen to you, O my Sahaba, when you will leave enjoining good and forbidding evil? What will happen to you at that time? O Messenger of Allah, will that happen? The Sahaba were told, oh my Sahaba, even worse will happen. Even worse will happen. And what is that? What will happen to you when evil will become ma'roof? Evil will become ma'roof, yani good. What is evil will become the norm of the day and acceptable. And what is munkar and what is evil will become normal. What is good will be known as munkar. So one of the things shaitan has done is to alter and change the function of women in society. Unfortunately, roles have changed. Countries around the world, you will find where every country around the world, or majority of them, have what you call Women's Month. I'm sure you must have heard of it. In South Africa in 1956, a group of women, they took a very bold stance against the apartheid regime. And now it's become a global movement. You will now hear words, feminism, sexism, gender equality, equal rights for men and women, equal opportunity. You find enemies of Islam, those who look for every single opportunity to defame Islam, okay, by their well-oiled machines through the propaganda of media. They will say Islam is a religion that advocates and preaches oppression and abuse to women. This agenda of Western feminism is moving so fast. Not only non-Muslims, many Muslims are either in doubt or accepting. I'm sure you know. Okay, you have now gay, lesbian masjids, okay, around the world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safeguard us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is known as a liberal, progressive. These are known as liberal, progressive Muslims who accept Western ideology of feminism. So we have seen, you will see, in recent time, a new breed of Muslim women have started emerging. In the past, women, mashallah, they were homely, they were modest. Now you have a new breed. But this is nothing new for us. This is not a shocking for us. Why? Because Rasulullah prophesies for me and you. Okay, this time will come. Rasulullah told us, Nisa'un kasiyatun ariyatun mumilat. Okay, there are two meanings. Number one, there will come a time where women will be clothed, but they will be unclothed. One is simple. Okay, they will be clothed meaning they will be naked, i.e., the clothing will be see-through and they will be very, very tight. But the second interpretation of the statement of Rasulullah, okay, there will be women who are clothed but yet unclothed. What does that mean? This is in the figurative meaning. Women will wear garments of modesty and the deen, but the hearts will be completely devoid of the spirit of Islam and the hearts will be naked. Today, you have women apparently who are hijabis, who talk about deen, but their hearts are ravished. They are polluted with the disease and the sickness of modernism, of Western idea of feminism. This is why this topic is very, very important. But inshallah, before we start, for us to understand what is really the true role and the responsibility of a lady according to the Quran and the Sunnah, we may say two things to the West. And then inshallah I will just give you a list of the things that we as women should try and inculcate within ourselves as a responsibility of a individual, mashallah, running a home and being a mother. Inshallah, we say two things to the West. Those individuals that propagate, be it the idea of feminism or otherwise. Number one, we find it very strange. We find it very hypocritical that they are teaching us of freedom for women. But why don't they look into their own backyards? Why do they not look into their countries? Why do they not look at the rates of abuse? In America, some years ago, in the Time magazine, it had a report. It said, in America, in USA alone, 6 million women are subjected to abuse at the hands of their husbands. 6 million women in America alone. And from this, 4,000 are killed in the process of the abuse. A FBI report concluded in America 40% of murders that take place are as a result of domestic abuse. 25% of all suicides committed by women is a direct result of domestic abuse. It's a result of violence against women. Another report stated that the number of women that are hospitalized due to domestic violence are more than those hospitalized for accidents and rape cases, whatever. So you will say, the first what we need, get your house in order first before you preach to anyone else. They are speaking about zulm upon women from Islam, but they really need to look, mashallah, someone said it so beautifully. Americans, you have snakes around your own neck, but you are concerned about the fly which is supposedly buzzing around the head of someone else. That is the nature of the American society. Wherever, mashallah, there was a scholar, there was a scholar in England. He always used to say, the word USA stands for United Snakes of America. It's not United States of America. They are not concerned of the snake that is coiled around their necks and completely destroying their communities and their societies. And then they are going to tell us about freedom and what is freedom. So anyway, that's point number one. Look into your own houses. Number two, the second thing we say to the West, when you talk about freedom for women, emancipation of women, it seems you mean strip women of haya. That's what it means. Okay, try and completely make them women of immodesty. Take them out of their homes, throw them into the workplaces and the corporate world to become the subject of manipulation and even more abuse, okay, from the men. A woman in a miniskirt to serve an entire plane of strangers, and every single one of those men having a lustful gaze towards that lady. If they had the opportunity, they would not think twice about violating the sanctity of that lady. If this is the idea of freedom and emancipation, and on the other side, a lady covering her modesty and her beauty, only refining it for the husband, if this is known as, I'm going against freedom, okay, then in that case, unfortunately, we are on two very, very different wavelengths. Okay, there is absolutely no match. So, the true rights are women. When we talk about rights to women, we don't need to learn anything from the Western world at all, because there is no religion, there is no government, there is no constitution in the world who has given more rights to women than Islam. In order to understand what Islam gave, just look at the pre-Islamic times prior to Rasulullah coming into the world. Quran has spoken about a female infanticide. I'm sure you know, girls were buried alive. A individual will not come home if his wife has given birth to a girl. The husband will not come home, he will go into hiding. And when the first opportunity, a female will be buried alive. That was a situation of girls and young girls when they came into Islam. Today, our young girls, okay, that are influenced by the modernism and the feministic movements, they will say, what has Islam given us? In simple terms, Islam has given the women the right to live. Because before Islam came, women did not have the right to live. In the zamana of, I'm sure you know, in the zamana of Jahiliyyah, when a lady lost her husband, you might be surprised. It is narrated by Imam Bukhari rahimahullah. The hadith is narrated by Zainab bint Abi Salama radiyallahu ta'ala anha. This is the Rabiba and the girl who came into the care of Rasulullah when Rasulullah married Salama radiyallahu ta'ala anha. So she narrates the hadith. When a husband passed away in the days of Jahiliyyah, the lady had to go into a hut for 1 year. For 1 year. She had absolutely no access to water to have a bath. In other words, she was not allowed to have a bath for 1 year. And she was, the word in the hadith is hifshun. Hifsh means a small hut, a very, very small hut. Okay, now, they, no water for bathing. She was left in her oldest clothes. She was not allowed to change her clothes. When she came out after 1 year, an animal was given to her. You rub that on your body. The animal would die because of the stench of the body of that lady. And then she would take the droppings of an animal, throw it behind her, that was signal the end of her iddat. That is what women, and that is how they were treated prior to the days of Islam. When, I'm sure you know, what used to happen in the Hindu culture. There is a kitab written by a scholar. I'm not currently, it's just slipping from my mind the name of the author. Al-Mar'atu Bayna Takrim al-Islam wa Ihanat al-Jahiliyyah. How women were given honor because of Islam and by the way of the advent of the teachings of Islam, and how women were completely downtrodden in society in the days of Jahiliyyah. So he writes, be it Greeks or Romans or Persians or Indians or Chinese, they were all oppressing women prior to the arrival of Islam. And then he gives a few examples. The Greeks regarded women to be the product of the devil. They are the making of the devil. In India, when a husband passes away, the lady did not deserve to live. She had her body, she with the body of her husband would be burnt alive with the dead husband. At that time, Rahmatul lil Alameen comes into the world. Rasulullah stands up and he makes a very, very powerful statement. Okay, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he went completely against the norms of the society. Rasulullah stands up and says, وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, be good to your wives. Rasulullah stood up and said, لَا يَحِلُّ لَكُمْ أَن تَرِثُوا النِّسَاءِ, it is not halal for you to become the inheritors of the women. Rasulullah stands up and says, اللهم إني أحرج حق الضعيفين اليتيم والمرأة. This is a hadith mentioned by Imam Nasa'i. Oh Allah, I declare a sin to violate and trample the rights of the two weak ones. Okay, meaning the orphan and the woman. MashaAllah, look at the maqam of a lady that Islam has given. Rasulullah says in the hadith, من عال جاريتين حتى تبلغ جاء يوم القيامة هو وأنا كهاتين. A lady or a man who nurtures two young girls until they become baligha, you've given them good education. Inshallah, me and that individual will be like this on the day of Qiyamah. And then Rasulullah joined his two fingers together. Anyone who has been given daughters and then he nurtures them, your daughters will become a screen and a barrier against the fire of hell. Okay, so inshallah, this is, Rasulullah stood up and said, Ummak, Ummak, Ummak. Rasulullah gave the women 3 rights compared to the man only having 1 right. When the Sahabi came and said, "Oh Messenger of Allah, okay, what do you advise me? Okay, who deserves my khidmah and my service the most?" What did Rasulullah say? Ummaka, ummaka, ummaka. Your mum, your mum, your mum. What did Rasulullah say? Jannah lies under the feet of your mothers. On the occasion of Hajjatul Wada', the very important advices were given on the occasion of Hajjatul Wada and the farewell Hajj. And the advice in the khutbah is a very, very small khutbah. And one of the advices Rasulullah gave was, Istawsu bin nisa'i khayra. Accept my advice regarding your women. So no government, no system, no constitution has given honor the way Islam has given honor. But despite everything that we have said, Islam has given everyone dignity, honor has been given to women. But Allah did not create men and women the same. If your heart doesn't accept this, then this is a sign of a sick heart. Because if you give a sick person honey to drink, he will feel the honey was bitter. It is not the fault of the honey. It is the fault of the actual individual who is unwell. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says very, very clearly in the Quran, Ar-rijal qawwamuna 'ala an-nisa. Men are in charge of women. Why? Because Allah Ta'ala preferred some over the others. And this is a very, very vital point that the West miss out. Everyone is created in a unique way by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with unique roles and unique functions. The Western world, to a certain extent, acknowledges and they also understand that women in terms of their creation are different compared to men. You tell me, do you have mixed sports? Generally you don't. You don't have mixed sports. For example, in a tennis match, okay, a lady is playing against a man because they acknowledge it. If you look at athletics, if you look at ice hockey, do you have a game where women are playing against men? Why? Because the Western world will realize and they acknowledge and they understand that women will be at a disadvantage. Why? Because physically, mentally, emotionally, women are not the same. There is a reason why Shariat did not give the authority of divorce to the men. It was, to the women. It was only given to the men. MashaAllah, we always say, if it was given, the authority of divorce was given to the women, every single man would be a divorcee. You see why? Because women are very different. Physically, mentally, emotionally, they are not the same. You see, it's like if you flip the coin, if men were to say, why are men not able to become pregnant? Why cannot men breastfeed the children? Now you tell me, would that be a valid argument? Absolutely not. Why are they shouting for women to be exactly the same as men when Allah Ta'ala has not made it in terms of their creation? Okay, they are not the same. See, men and women are two very, very vital components of the society. And every single one of them play a equally important and rewarding role as the other. People, those people who understand cars. I'm sure, I think a lot of women, mashallah, drive in this country. You have engine oil. On one side, you have engine oil. On the other side, in another system, you have a coolant. Okay, you have a coolant that is put into the system. And they run, and both of them are completely vital. If one if one is missing out, either the oil, the engine oil, or the coolant, the car will not function. In the same manner, men and women are two components. Both have a separate role. They have a separate function and a separate objective. Allah created men to go out of the home, to face the harsh world that is outside, to earn a living for himself and the family. Allah Ta'ala created women to stay indoors, to take charge of domestic affairs, and for her lap to become the first madrasa for her child. It was, if you look at Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, where did the sabr of Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam come from? The sabr of Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam came from his mother. This is why when the time of Qurbani came, Hazrat Hajar was a lady who has nurtured Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam. When the time come, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam says to his son, "Oh my son, I see I am sacrificing you. What do you think?" You know what he said? "Satajiduni insha'Allahu minas sabirin." You will find me amongst those who have patience. Where did the patience of Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam come from? It came from his mother, because over time he would have known, my mother was left completely alone in a desert. For a child, the mother is the first lap and the first madrasa and the first role model. The role placed by women, to comfort the husband. The role that is played by the women. So number one, we mentioned inshallah for the women to stay at home and look after the other side inshallah of the wheel, and their life. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says specifically to azwaji mutaharat, وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ. You stay in the confines of your home. And what is interesting, the word waqarna comes from the word waqar. And the word waqar is implying sukoon. If you want sukoon in your lives, mashallah, you stay at home. When you become a mother, you look after your child. And you believe me, being a full-time mother, there is no job that is more pleasing than becoming a full-time mother. And inshallah, the reward is just completely immense. So number one, we mentioned inshallah for women to stay in the comforts of their home, because this is the beauty of Sharia. Shariat has never ever compelled women to go outside and work. When you are young, your father will look after you. When you grow up, inshallah, and you get married, your husband will look after you. When you become a mother, inshallah, your children will look after you. When a lady becomes a widow, inshallah, the society of Islam used to look after the women. And mashallah, nowadays, you get enough money, in terms of widow pension, we don't need to work. Islam has given the role to the ladies of staying in the confines of the home, and inshallah, try and make a, mashallah, they say the duty of the lady is to make the house into a home. And inshallah, I'll share with you, just before I finish, inshallah, in a few minutes, inshallah, I'll share with you, how do you make a house into a home? Right in the end, inshallah, we will also do that as well. But the second duty of a lady is to comfort the husband. If you look at the inception of wahi, the first time that Jibreel alayhi salam came down and brought down revelation upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and mashallah, you might be surprised to hear, Allama Qastallani rahimahullah has wrote, Jibreel alayhi salam came to Rasulullah during his lifetime 24,000 times. 24,000 times Jibreel came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam over the course of his entire life. So that was Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam when the first revelation came, and Rasulullah is trembling, he is scared. Who was it that gave Rasulullah that comfort? It was none other than Hazrat Khadija. And this is why it is unanimously accepted by majority of the scholars, the greatest lady in the history of Islam is Hazrat Khadija bint Khuwaylid radiyallahu anha, because of her support to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the first Muslimah. You see, don't get me wrong, Hazrat Khadija was a very, very big businesswoman as well. We are not saying women cannot do business. MashaAllah, if you start your cake baking business, MashaAllah, from home, okay, it's alhamdulillah, excellent. Okay, I don't know if you have here back home, MashaAllah, we have a roti baking system. MashaAllah, women who make rotis, okay, they make salan, and MashaAllah, they're becoming very, very rich. Alhamdulillah, they're buying houses. They're buying houses freehold. We're not saying women are not to do something that they can in the confines of their home. If you have to go and work outside, inshallah, no problem at all. In terms of, in an Islamic environment, if women have to go and work, okay, there is no problem with that as well. But inshallah, the moment you become a mother, ideally you want to now stay at home. So inshallah, the second role of a lady is to comfort the husband. You know, when the husband comes home, MashaAllah, you know, or just on a, this is just on a lighter note. This is on a lighter note. One day, the boss at work told all the workers, because he is very, 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 very angry. He told everyone, every one of you go to hell. Every one of you go to hell. So, you know, it was time. Normally they release work at 5 o'clock. Today, the husband came home at 3 o'clock. The wife says to the husband, you are home early today? He says the boss was very, very upset, and he sent everyone home, and he said, every one of you go to hell, so I've come home. Every one of you go to hell, so I've come home. In other words, Allah Ta'ala maaf kare, sometimes we have made our homes in such a manner that the husband does not want to come home. Or example, the wife doesn't want to come home because of the environment of the home. So a lady, her role and a pivotal role in the life of a lady is, inshallah, give a comfort to your husband. If you do, inshallah, you are in the league of Sayyida Khadija radiyallahu anha. She consoled Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, it was behind every great man is a great lady. Behind Imam Bukhari rahimahullah is the mother of Imam Bukhari rahimahullah. Behind Imam al-Ghazali is the mother of Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah. So inshallah, we mentioned there are two functions. One is the oil and one is the coolant. And they both run in their own channels. Now inshallah, the car will run well. As soon as you have a leak, if you have a leak and the water mixes with the oil, it will cause engine damage. If women are told to come out of their homes, cross a path with the men, go into the corporate world, rub shoulders with men, this is going to result in the breakdown of a society. So we really need to understand we are all shepherds, and Allah Ta'ala will ask us in regards to the responsibilities Allah Ta'ala has given us. You know, inshallah, my advice, okay, this is something that Allah Ta'ala just put into my mind, inshallah. One thing, women, Allah Ta'ala maaf kare, in our country, in UK, we have had cases where you've had interaction between men and women. A lady went to a tailor, a male tailor, because he was known in the community to be a very, very good tailor. Within a few months, they got in contact with one another, and she became pregnant. Halanki, she is married with 4 kids. She is married with 4 kids, and the guy was a migrant who had come from another country. But you know, when that kind of interaction happens between men and women, Allah Ta'ala maaf kare, it can result in the absolute destruction of your entire family. For what you have worked for, you know, many years. Inshallah, let me give you an example. Inshallah, I will just I will finish, inshallah, just with the last few points, inshallah. I'm sure every one of us here has heard of the name Sulaym radiyallahu anha. Sulaym. She is the mother of Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu. Sulaym is the mother of Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik. Many scholars have mentioned her incident. Inshallah, just before I go on to that, inshallah, becoming a mother is so rewarding, so rewarding. Sayyida Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma relates the incident which is mentioned by Imam Bukhari rahimahullah in Sahih Bukhari. One lady came to meet Sayyida Aisha to ask her for something because she had absolutely nothing. Hazrat Aisha on that day, she only had 3 pieces of dates. Bas unke paas 3 khajur the. She had 3 pieces of date. Sayyida Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma gave the lady the 3 pieces of dates. One for the one child, one for the other child, and the third for the mother itself. And Sayyida Aisha does not have anything left. The 2 children eat the 2 dates that they were given, and then when they finished, they're looking at the mother and they are looking at the one that is in the hand of the mother. The mother saw that the children are still hungry and they are in need of that one date that I have. She made 2 pieces of it and she gave it to the 2 children. The children were happy, mashallah. Sayyida Aisha was amazed, astonished at the affection and the love of the mother. Now you believe me, when a lady is going out, we have had so many cases in England. Wallahi al-Azim, I am here in the masjid or a part of the masjid. I am telling you, just before we came, we dealt with a divorce case. And the reason why, because the lady was working and in her workplace, she's got involved in a relationship with another man and currently nothing has happened. But they have started texting and it does not seem appropriate. The way they are texting is not appropriate. Now you tell me, they have got 2 to 3 to 4 kids. And the husband said, Maulana, there is absolutely no chance that I am going to give her another chance. I am not going to live with her. Absolutely no chance. Okay, it so happened, okay, they had to go their own ways. And now the children are with the father. He's got 4 kids to look after. And the mother has gone. She's got married to that guy. And now she's separated from him as well. Okay, neither there, neither there. Okay, we are dealing with cases every single week of extramarital affairs. It's a very, very dangerous individual, because you believe me, the greatest weakness of men is women. The greatest weakness of men is women. And this is why the responsibility of a lady, when your husband comes home, give him a smile. Because that smile will go a very, very long way. Because women in his corporate departments, women that he works with, are smiling at him every single moment of the day. And then he comes home and then, mashallah, you give him a all ear bashing. Okay, the guy will say, you know, where have I come? So inshallah, the responsibility of a lady, inshallah, give comfort to the husband. Okay, be loving, be caring. And then inshallah, like I've told you, when Sayyida Aisha came and related this incident of the three individuals, a mother and the 2 children, what did she say? لَقَدْ دَخَلَتْ بِذَلِكَ الْجَنَّةِ. Because of what the mother has done, because of that, she is going into Jannah. She will go into Jannah because of the attitude of the mother. You know, inshallah, I will share with you one incident. Yes, I know to stay at home is not easy. To stay in the confines of your home. If your husband does not want you to work, mashallah, you are the queen. You don't need to work. If your husband wants you to work, you want to work in a good Islamic environment, by all means do so. If you are working in a non-Muslim environment, remember, you are at the mercy of the eyes of those non-Muslims who are casting a lustful gaze at you every single moment of the day. Now you take your pick. So inshallah, Sulaim, I just started the incident of Sulaim. This is a lady, mashallah, an amazing lady. She's the mother of Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu. Inshallah, this is the last thing I'll mention, and then I will just mention one last point in regards to how do you make a house into a home. You know, mashallah, they say you can turn, you see, money can buy you a house, it can't buy you a home. Money can buy you a bed, it can't buy you sleep. So a house is not a place of comfort. Comfort is where you have a home. Now, how do you make a house into a home? Okay, that inshallah we will mention just before I finish, inshallah. But the last few points, Sulaim radiyallahu ta'ala anha. Her husband is on a journey. The child passes away. The child passes away. Now, you know what I would do, what you would do. Okay, a lady will become very, very angry. You know what, you go on a journey to make money and whatever, and you don't bother. The child was unwell, okay, and now he's passed away, and you go and make the arrangements. Nothing at all. When the husband comes back from a journey after a few days, and Sayyidina Abu Talha, he's asking Sulaym, when I left, our child was unwell. How is he now? Now he's passed away. The child has just passed away. Before the arrival of the husband, Hazrat Sulaym shrouded her, left the child in a corner, and then says to the husband, he's in a better situation than he was when you left. Because when you die, mashallah, you got all the comfort in the world. Because now, mashallah, this is why the ulama say, if you see death in a dream, the interpretation of death in a dream is you will get sukoon and you will get peace in your life. Because the most sukoon you are going to get is after you die. Okay, the place of sukoon, inshallah, for believers who have toiled and sacrificed themselves is, inshallah, when we go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we meet Allah, that is when we will have our sukoon, inshallah. So Sulaym, she's prepared herself. Okay, she's made the food because she knows the husband is coming back. She's beautified herself. She's worn nicer clothing. She's done her makeup for the husband. And now the husband is inclined towards her and they enjoy a marital relationship in the night. In the morning when they wake up, Sulaym says to Sayyidina Abu Talha, go and bury your son. Sayyidina Abu Talha was slightly upset. Why did you not tell me when I came? Anyway, he came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. O Messenger of Allah, this is what has happened. Rasulullah said, Hal a'rastumul layla? Did you have a relationship with Sulaym overnight? And he said, yes. Rasulullah made a dua for them. May Allah Ta'ala grant you barakah in that child. Allah Ta'ala gave them from that union, Allah Ta'ala gave them a child. And his name was Abdullah. And he had children, he had 9 children. Every single one of them was a hafiz of the Quran. And every single one of them was an alim of the entire Sharia. That is what the sabr of a lady will do, and the prime example is the life of Sulaym radiyallahu ta'ala anha. So inshallah, I'll just finish on this inshallah. In order to just to let you know, how do you make a house into a home? Okay, inshallah, and I'll just finish on this inshallah. Number 1, inshallah, if you can make the home a place of worship, make your homes become lively during prayer times. Engage in frequent Quran recitation and the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is number 1. By way of worship, that is how you are going to make your house into a home. And inshallah, if the women does this, inshallah, if the women have started this, it is impossible for a man, inshallah, to say no. And the children will follow suit. Number 1. Number 2. It is the duty of the male and the female, both, and the responsibility of everyone. Keep shaitan out of our houses. How do you do that? When you go into your house, enter by saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Enter by saying Bismillah, Tawakkaltu ala Allah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. You can enter, you can leave the house by reading this dua, inshallah. This is how shayateen will remain away. If shayateen are away from our homes, inshallah, our houses will become homes. When you enter into the home, say salam. And this is how you make your house into a home. When you go inside your home, try and make a ma'mul as a family. Every single day, you have recital of Surah Al-Baqarah in the home. If you do that, inshallah, shaitan will stay away from your home. If you are not able to read it for whatever reason, just leave it playing in the background. When you are working in the kitchen, leave it, mashallah, playing in the background. Number 3, allow respect, kindness, and trust rule the affairs of a family. Respect, kindness, and trust. These are 3 very, very important elements in order for an individual to make your house into a home. Another thing that we must also do, foster a culture of Islamic learning and Islamic knowledge. Engage in Islamic learning sessions. Be aware of matters of halal and haram. Okay, and last 2 points inshallah. Make sure you Do everything at home with mutual consultation. Do everything. Example, you need to do anything. You know what you do? We have dealt with so many cases of divorce. So many cases of divorce. We dealt with one case just before I came, and you will not believe. You know what the husband said? The husband said, I want divorce from my wife. You know why? Because she bosses me around in everything. What she tells us, that is what we have to do. When you have mutual consultation, inshallah, that is what will bring peace and harmony and sukoon into your home. If you have to make a decision in regards to the daughter, and mashallah, you know, the wife says, we are going to get her married to my sister's son. And the husband says, no, my sister's son she's getting married to. And now the wife is not speaking, she's not making no food. Okay, she doesn't do anything. Bishara husband has to buckle under pressure, and he says, okay, no problem. If that's what you want, okay, let it be. You know, do everything with consultation. Women sometimes they govern the lives of the women. The women govern the lives of the men, and this can be detrimental for you. You know, mashallah, we always say, don't ruin the Jannah of your husband and don't ruin your Jannah. Your Jannah is serving your husband and your children. And your husband's Jannah is serving his mother. A lot of women separate their husbands from their mothers. You know, mashallah, they fill their ears. Okay, she did this and she did this and she did this. Inshallah, we learn sabr from the likes of Hazrat Hajar, the mother of Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam. So inshallah, my recommendation to you, have ta'aleem at home with your girls about the life of Sayyida Khadija, the life of Hazrat Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha, the life of Hazrat Fatima. Read those kitabs in which you have the biography of those great women of Islam. So inshallah, if we have that environment at home, that will go a long way of safeguarding our children. And my last advice, inshallah, is make sure you fulfill the responsibility on your shoulder. You know, a lot of women, what they say, because my husband does not fulfill my rights, this is why I don't fulfill his rights. Don't do that. Just fulfill what you have to do. Fulfill what you have to do. And then in regards to your rights, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that your husband becomes an individual who fulfills your rights. So this is what we really need to do. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you great women of the future. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you all bright shining stars for the entire locality of Toronto and the entire world, as far and wide, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you excellent mothers, following in the role model of Sayyida Khadija radiyallahu ta'ala anha. May Allah ta'ala make you excellent daughters, following in the pathway of Sayyida Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha, Sayyida Fatima radiyallahu ta'ala anha. May Allah ta'ala give you husbands, okay, those who are not married, may Allah give you husbands who look after you, okay, who are compassionate about you, who are kind towards you, who are loving towards you, mashallah, who give you, who make your home into Jannah for you. And if you are already women, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given you a husband who is of that nature. And if they are not, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala incline their hearts towards you. But mashallah, you know, one youngster came to me. One youngster came to me, he was getting married, and he said, Maulana, please make dua, okay, that my wife turns out to be Khadija. That's what he said, yeah? Make dua that my wife turns out to be Khadija. I said, mashallah, you turn out to be Muhammad alayhi salam, meaning the character of Rasulullah, and your wife will be Khadija. So if you become like Sayyida Khadija, there is impossible that your husband will not imbibe within himself the character of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you strong in your deen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safeguard you from the fitna of feminism, of sexism. May Allah ta'ala safeguard you from all the fitan that are around us. We know these are all Dajjalic fitan that are around us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safeguard you from all of them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safeguard your children from all those fitan that are around you. Believe me, we are living in a community where you got one fitna, and then when the one that goes, you got another one, and then another one. Rasulullah one day came out in Medina Munawwara, and then he said, I can see the time where fitan will come into your homes like the drops of rain. You know, when drops of rain come, they come completely with continuation, they don't stop. In the same manner, the fitan that will come within the ummah will be one after the other. It's one after the other after the other. Once a fitna of feminism goes, wallahu alam, we don't know, it'll be another one. It was LGBTQ, and then it became plus as well, okay, and then you got SRD in schools, okay, and then now you got wallahu alam, all the other fitan that you have. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safeguard you from all of them. May Allah ta'ala allow you to become wonderful mothers for your children. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow you to have sukoon within your homes, so you don't feel you need to go out. And if you do go out, inshallah, you go out in an Islamic environment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you beacons of light in this country. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you the means of other non-Muslim women coming into Islam, and may Allah ta'ala make it a means of your mizan becoming weighty on the day of Qiyamah. Wa akhiru da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa sallallahu ala khayri khalqihi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa atba'ihi wa dhurriyyatihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.